Hi, I am Multi-Topic Talk. Welcome to this new video. Today we cover Inside Out 1 and Inside Out 2. With that being said, I will admit something. I've seen one last week, and the other one I've seen it in theater. So this means I have more detailed notes about Inside Out 1 than I have about Inside Out 2. Inside Out 2, basically, I went in the theater, I went to see it, I came back home, I took a nap, I woke up, and I did mark down my notes. So this is what happened. Because of that, I will have a lot more to say about the first one, but that's fine. That's fine. For a kids movie, Inside Out, the first one was really good and entertaining. It was actually better than a lot of movies aimed to adults, teenagers, whatever. So I highly recommend the first Inside Out. And it's interesting how you talk to people and they're like, "Oh, it's a kids movie," or um you talk to them and you realize that yes, it is, but does it makes it bad? Not necessarily. I do think adults can also enjoy kids stuff. There's no shame in it. That just means you didn't really lose what made you a kid once. Does this means you didn't grow up? Not necessarily. You just have some kind of nostalgia. The ones that don't grow up are the ones that are like, let's have the edgy take. We cannot like this because it's a kid's thing. This is something that someone that's not mature would say and think because they think they're above something else, and that's a sign of insecurities or something like that. Anyway, let's go back to this review because I don't want to go too far in that path. Inside Out is a movie about emotions, what they do to you, and they are basically characters in the movie. And I'm colorblind, so sometimes I kind of struggle with the colors. But I gotta say, each color represent an emotion in that movie. The only one I'm 100% sure is the red one. The others, I'm not quite sure if it's yellow or green. The one on the left and the one on the right, I'm not quite sure if it's blue or purple or something like that. Anyway, each character represent an emotion, and that emotion is depicted by its color. Um, what's very interesting is how kids and teenager, after watching this movie, they are like, "Oh, I feel this color." Um, it's interesting because I didn't hear about that backstory. It was someone with whom I went to see the second one in theater that told me that backstory. She was like, "Oh yeah, I've heard endearing stories about it." She also sent me some kind of video about psychologists and therapists covering Inside Out or something like that. I will be honest, I didn't have time to watch that. I was occupied doing other stuff. I will eventually watch it. I'm sure it will be a very fun discussion to witness, to hear about. Before I analyze the story, let's share what I liked. The characters were enjoyable, the music was cool, the theme of growing up and coming of age was very fun. I already dove into the analysis aspect, but anyway, that's a very fun kids movie about growing up, and joy is as important as sadness, and you need to accept that. And sometimes too much joy can undermine the pain, and that's a very sad thing to do. Yeah, the music, the lore, the characters are very likable, and it's interesting how we got to see the adult emotions as well, not only the kid. So there's value there. The story is told mainly through the daughter eyes and her experience, but you also get the parents' perspective at some extent, and that's really cool. Um, yeah. Uh, Again, the lore was really solid. The humor was also very good, even for an adult. I do think you can get some value out of it. Um, yeah, there was a lot of very funny moments. I feel like I repeat myself so much there. So let's go get into the more scripted part where I go into my notes about the analysis. Now, I will specify I may have missed a few things because, again, my media literacy is a work in progress. It's not perfect, and I sound really stupid because, again, that's a kid's movie. So if I missed something, that will make me look terrible and stupid. But hey, uh, what are we without the stupid, right? Um, there is a moment in the movie where Riley's admits she was sad, and that was so endearing. You're like, wow, that's sad. I feel that. I felt like that once. I do remember feeling that once where I tell someone I feel good, but when I tell that, I know it's a goddamn lie. Who didn't do this in the past? Think everyone did that. Joy chasing after sadness because she realized she's needed. That was a good character moment for Joy. She realized, oh, uh, it's falling apart without you. Well shown how both Joy and sadness were able to impact memories in a good and bad ways. That story does a lot of telling, but it does as much showing as telling. So that's a very strong aspect to this movie. Things are bad and joy is sad. Uh, Rewind this. Things are bad when joy is sad. So when she lost all of the will at some point in the movie, you're like, okay, there's something wrong there. Um, the parents not understanding their kids was well shown. I think it's a recurring thing. Even if you're the adult, you don't have all of the answers. And I think that movie was really good at telling that aspect. Riley not feeling well because of the move was relatable and well shown and told. The message about sadness and joy needing each other to work well was well made. The father being understanding was well shown when he left. Next up would be the daughter not being responsive to her dad was well shown, sad and endearing. At the same time, seeds of bottling up emotion by disregarding her feelings and what others have told her. Asking sadness to stay away was the start of everything. Um, and now I just realized I feel like I did everything in reverse. I started by the end and finished with the start. Feeling like Star Wars right now. Anyway, I think the ending of this movie was perfect. It was peak entertainment. Solid 10 out of 10. No issue whatsoever. Even if you're not a kid, I'm sure you can enjoy this movie. If you don't like this movie, maybe it's you at the right place, but you don't know how to verbalize it, or you're in denial and you're like, that's shite. I think it's very hard for someone that understands this movie that will dislike it. I think it's very easy to hate on animation because it's the sake of animation. It's really going on, you know? It's animation, it's bad, it's for kids, you cannot like it. These myths are really bad. I think a good movie, everyone deserves to like it. Even if you're not the target audience, you can like it. So again, I'm sure others may have nitpicks and issues with Inside Out. I can tell. I know. I know some people they don't like talking about their emotions, and that's a movie about it. So maybe they won't enjoy that. Maybe some people don't like humor in general, so they won't like this movie. Think that makes you someone very jaded, and that's very sad if you cannot enjoy humor. Anyway, that's it for this first review of the first Inside Out. Highly recommend if you have not seen. Anyone can relate to it. Anyone can like it. I think it's perfect. I'm sure others disagree, but hey, this is where we got the comment section. So here we are, in between the first and the second review. So I will start by saying, even if I don't really have that much things to say about the second one, I think they are on par, they are equals. I'm sure if I go back and rewatch both side to side and I have my notepad and I'm not in a theater, I may end up having the same kind of stuff to say about both movies, the same kind of very long notes. And the biggest reason why my notes on the second one are shorter, it's not because it's a worse movie or better movie, whatever. It's mainly because it's after the experience. And I feel like the first one, that was my first experience with that universe, so I had more to say. And to transition into the second one, I will say this, it expands on what the first one did. I will say that it's just like the first one, but with a different story. It's not the exact same thing. It's about the emotions again, but it has a very different skin suit. And I feel like in the first one, we had a perfect balance between what's really going on presently and the emotions. Emotions and Riley probably have the same amount of screen time. While in the second one, it feels a lot more about the emotions than Riley, even if in the end the emotions are Riley. It feels like it's really more their journey than Riley's, even if they're one and the same. So it's different. I will say that the second one has the exact same strength as the first one because they did everything well. And again, I don't have any issues with the second one. So now the transition is done. Let's talk about the second one. So in the second one, again, I kind of already started the review. It's a lot more about the emotions. And the idea in the second one is really the emotions are Riley, how she copes with it, how she deals with it. And There's a lot more screen time with the emotion than Riley herself, but again, I keep repeating myself for the last minute or so. So let's get into my notes I did take. This will help a lot. But again, I don't have that many notes. That's the very sad part about this. So again, characters and music were very enjoyable, just like the first one. It was surprising how good it was. It didn't feel like a copy paste of what happened in the first movie. Joy and sadness did show growth since they get along better than they did in the first one. So it's really building on the strong foundation the first one left. The movie was very good at showing instead of telling. So just like the first one, I said it. Um, let's get into it. Nice message about not bottling up emotions. It's about every emotions being part of the person. It's about dealing and overcoming anxiety without bottling up said emotion. Great story about teenagers pretending to be a way to fit the group and make new friends. The friendship being destroyed and restored was very entertaining. Great sequel about building a personality fits very well with teenagers. So, the first movie was about how moving somewhere else can be very difficult for kids, new challenge, and how kids sometimes they don't really know how to verbalize or to tell adult, look, I feel like crap. I don't want to down your spirits, but this is how I feel. So that was the first movie. The second one is like it's teenagers being teenagers, hanging with the wrong kids, even if it's really subtle and smart about it. I go off script here because that's what I remember from yesterday viewing, but Riley was pretending to be in a way she wasn't, just to fit in with the other girls. So that was most of her screen time. That was the key aspect to the movie. But when you really follow the story of the emotions, we got anxiety that kind of took over the base, the life, and because anxiety is just everywhere, there's no longer the happiness, the joy she had. She destroyed her friendship. And again, she restored it by the end, but she only restored that friendship when she realized something broke. And it was also very well shown how um Riley had a panic attack. That was really good. It's an animation movie that was able to animate so well a panic attack. And I know that because I've seen. I won't go too much in detail on where I've seen that, but seen many panic attack. And this is one. This movie just expand on the first one on a very clever way. And it's about building who you are. And this is what teenagers do. They build who they are. They are impacted by their friends, but by what they go through, and they are scared to be lonely. So anyway, I I don't have a lot more to say. It's just another great movie. Um just like the first one. I if you ask me if I pick one or the other, I have no idea. I think both are very watchable and enjoyable. Hell, if you ask me which one, I think I will simply say I don't know and I will rewatch both. And maybe I will know after, but the second one is just really smart. It's about teenagers. while the other one is more about kids. She grows up. It's a story about growing up. So, Inside Out 2 deserves a 10 out of 10, just like the first one. I will go that far to say I think it's one of the best movies we had this year. It's as good as any live action flick I've seen. That or a 10, of course, because there are worse movies out there. But it's just a movie that you go and watch and you will enjoy most likely what's going on. So now I've seen 25 movies in 2024, and this one, without going too deep into it, as of right now, July 6th, 2024, this movie comes in sixth place in my top 10. But that may change as the year goes on. I will gladly rewatch it in the future if there is a third Inside Out. Anyway, that was multi-topic talk. We are done with this review. You know what to do. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want more movies discussion. I do podcasts. I also do a bit of gaming. Some point I will find something that bites and that makes me blow up on YouTube, and then that will be my persona. Hopefully one day. We are out. Good night.